Welcome and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Carney. I work with Social Studies Assessments, grades 6 through 8, and U.S. History. And also here with me is Kelly Parker. She works with Social Studies Assessments, grades 3 through 5, and ELA Assessments, grades 3 and 4. The purpose of today's webinar is to help educators better understand changes to the grades 3 through 8 Social Studies tests and how to respond to those changes. We will provide an explanation of the reduction plan, compare the operational test design and the practice test design, discuss instructional considerations, and highlight available resources. First, we're going to discuss the changes made to the social studies tests at grades 3 through 8. Throughout the year, the department collects and analyzes assessment data to make improvements to statewide assessments while also working to limit the amount of time students spend on these assessments. We examine statistical data on the test questions, the amount of time students actually spend on each type of question, and student performance on the various questions across all assessments. Additionally, we collect and analyze feedback received through the assessment at la.gov mailbox, as well as feedback from teachers, principals, superintendents, and networks. After reviewing the social studies data and feedback from the past 2 years of operational testing, the department is adjusting the grades 3 and 4 social studies assessment designs to reduce the time students spend testing by approximately 25%. At the same time, the grades 5 through 8 social studies assessments will be shortened by removing an item set. Additionally, rather than requiring all students and schools to participate in the field testing at grades 5 through 8, only a sample of students in schools will participate in a short field test session during the existing window. As mentioned, the new design for grades 3 and 4 will reduce the amount of time spent on the assessment by approximately 25%. The number of sessions at grades 3 and 4 have been reduced from 3 sessions to 2 sessions, and the task set and one item set have been removed from the operational test. This slide shows the operational design for grades 3 and 4, which can also be found in the assessment guides, which are located in the Assessment Guidance Library. The grades 3 and 4 tests contain 5 item sets and standalone items across 2 sessions. Again, the grades 5 through 8 social studies assessments will be shortened by removing an item set. Additionally, rather than requiring all students in schools to participate in field testing, only a sample of schools will be required to participate in a short field test session during the existing window. Information will be shared with participating schools and school systems this winter. This slide shows the operational design for grade 5, which can also be found in the assessment guide. The grade 5 test contains 5 item sets, 1 task set, and standalone items across 3 sessions. This slide contains the operational design for social studies grades 6 through 8. Again, the design, along with other information about the operational test, is available in the assessment guide, which can be found in the Assessment Guidance Library. The grade 6 through 8 test contains 6 item sets, 1 task set, and standalone items across 3 sessions. Please note, at this time, no changes are expected for the 2018-2019 U.S. History test. The social studies assessments will continue to ask students to apply their understanding of social studies content and concepts by making connections and showing relationships among ideas, people, and events within and across time and place. The new design will still allow reporting of student achievement to 5 levels: advanced, mastery, basic, approaching basic, and unsatisfactory, and continues reporting of strong, moderate, and weak for the same categories used in previous years: history, geography, civics, and economics. Now we'll take a quick look at the design differences between the operational tests and the practice tests. The 2018-2019 practice tests do not reflect the new design of the operational tests. However, they continue to support good instructional practices and the importance of building content knowledge and using high-quality sources to make connections across time and place. The grades 3 and 4 practice tests include an extra item set and a task set with an extended response item. Although there is no longer an extended response task on the grades 3 and 4 operational tests, it is essential that teachers continue to incorporate extended response tasks into classroom instruction and formative classroom assessments. The grades 5 through 8 practice tests include an extra item set, which offers students another opportunity to show their content knowledge and ability to make connections. The design differences should not change a teacher's instructional approach. However, teachers should note the difference in timing when administering practice tests. This slide and the previous slide show suggested timing for the practice test sessions and how those times compare with the operational tests. Suggested timing for the practice tests can also be found in the social studies practice test guidance. The practice tests allow opportunities for teachers to examine the types of questions that appear on the operational assessments while evaluating their approach to instruction and assessment. The social studies practice tests support the shifts in social studies instruction through student engagement with sources while demonstrating understanding of content, making connections among content, and expressing claims using evidence from the sources and their knowledge of social studies. The social studies practice test guidance, which can be found in the practice test library, contains information about the general practice test structure, as well as cautions and actionable information, such as those listed on this slide. The recommended uses section of the guidance document provides general suggestions and specific questions that teachers can use to more effectively analyze the practice tests. Additionally, suggestions are provided to guide student interaction with the practice tests, along with ideas to facilitate teacher-initiated testing discussions with students. Teacher access to practice tests is currently available for all grades and courses. You can find the teacher access link, usernames, and passwords in the social studies practice test guidance document or the practice test quick start guide. Student access for the practice test is now available for U.S. history and other high school courses. Student access for the grades 3 through 8 practice tests will be available in January.
So what does all this mean for instruction? Every day in all content areas, students should be building knowledge of the world, in part by reading meaningful text. These will prepare students to express ideas, both orally and written, where students can solve complex problems. In social studies, this vision applies to all grade levels. Students in grades 3 through 8 should be learning the content knowledge from the teacher based on the companion documents, using sources on a daily basis. As students are able to develop claims, teachers should be addressing key themes to help students make connections across time and place. Either through discussion or in written form, students need to be able to support their claim with evidence from both sources and their background knowledge. Teachers must create instructional opportunities for students to delve into the content and guide students in developing and supporting claims about social studies content. It is essential that teachers continue to work with students to develop their content knowledge and their ability to use and synthesize sources. Using high-quality sources on a regular basis will allow teachers and students the opportunity to experience both visual and text-based sources and support students to learn how to dig into each type of source to make meaning and connections. It is important to start where the students are. If they cannot synthesize multiple sources, back up and begin with one or two. If they are struggling with text-based sources due to language, spend more instructional time helping them to read and understand the different types of documents, such as contracts, charters, or historical journals. Instruction also needs to support speaking and listening, where students are given the opportunity to build on their knowledge through oral discourse. Even students in elementary can be engaged in meaningful questions where they are developing claims. As a teacher, you know how to best ask clarifying questions to elicit extra information so your students can provide valid and thorough evidence. The continued use of extended response task sets in the classroom will deepen students' understanding of the content and help students make connections, which will prepare students for expressing valid claims in later grades. When scoring student work, be sure to continue the work even after the rubric is used to assess. This is the place where you can spend time with your students, teaching them how to push their score to a higher level. Consider if they need to make a stronger claim. Do they need to integrate more background knowledge? Are the connections limited? Starting with what they know how to do and finding positives in their responses will help them to create stronger responses over time. There is a time and place in the classroom for students to focus on names and dates, but be cautioned against never moving beyond skill and drill vocabulary quizzes. As noted on the previous slide, sources need to be taught. Oftentimes, students are provided sources without being taught how to make meaning of the source depending on the type of source. Many of the historical thinking skills can be integrated when students are learning how to make meaning and connections using different sources. Be cautious of limiting instruction only to the sources shown within the practice test. The practice test is just a sample and can include many more types of sources. It is important to find a balance of timed writing activities in the classroom. Students should have a balance of longer writing tasks as well as experience with the on-demand writing that is seen in the summative. Prioritizing content based on the standards and GLEs assessed on the practice test, or limiting instructional strategies to only those required on the practice test, will not adequately prepare students to be successful on the summative or for the next social studies course. Again, I want to stress the importance of not limiting instructional practices to no longer using extended response items or task sets in grades 3 and 4. Students in grades 3 and 4 should still continue to practice and work with the extended response items. Because students must learn how to make claims supported by evidence from sources and content knowledge, it is essential that teachers continue to work with students to develop content knowledge and build prerequisite skills in order to prepare students for the next grade level. Task sets go deeper than item sets with the development of a claim supported by evidence. The claims are where the connections and key themes are seen, and only using short constructed response items in the classroom will not adequately prepare students for grade 5 and up. Sample tasks can be found in many places for use in the classroom. The scope and sequence documents contain task sets within each unit. The LEAP 360 Teacher's Guide notes all sets at each grade level that are available, many of which were created by the teacher leader advisors. In grades 3 and 4, the Eagle Bank currently contains 2 extended response task sets for grade 3, which includes 1 released item, and 2 extended response task sets for grade 4, also containing 1 released item. Authentic student work and annotations will be released later this winter. Sample student responses to the extended response items on the practice test can be found in the practice test answer key documents. The responses include scores and annotations. For support in scoring the extended response items, you can access the practice test guidance. The appendix includes a brief scoring activity to use in your classroom or at the school level. The collaborative scoring presentation was presented at the summit this past June and provides an in-depth look at scoring authentic student work. Now we're going to look at a few resources that are available. I noted just a minute ago that we have some released item sets from the operational. These can be found in Eagle. Grade 3 has a DeSoto set and Grade 4 has a set on waterways and settlement. These have been released because the department supports the continued use of extended response items in the classroom. More released operational task sets will be coming into Eagle throughout the winter and spring. Be sure to check the LEAP 360 Teacher's Guide, which is linked on this slide, which contains updated grade level list of all item and task sets, which can be found in the Eagle platform. Authentic student work with scoring annotations will follow for the released items. These documents will help educators in understanding scoring expectations not only for this specific item, but for general scoring expectations at each score point. For more support in scoring extended response items, refer to the collaborative scoring presentation from the Teacher Leaders Summit, which was linked on the previous slide. To highlight again, this is the collaborative scoring activity, which is for teacher use. The scoring presentation provides an in-depth look at scoring authentic work to the extended response items. The answer keys are available on the practice test webpage and in eDirect. You may use an electronic or hard copy, but the rubrics themselves do not appear in the educator scoring application. This is a list of many social studies resources on the different web pages that can be found. Please note that the assessment guides have been updated and the practice test guidance has also been updated.
This PowerPoint is also available to you in the assessment guidance library, both the PowerPoint itself and the audio recording.
If you have any questions, please email assessment@la.gov.
Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking your time this afternoon to join us for updates on the social studies assessment. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. We're always happy to help.